Hello everyone, it's a new day. I welcome you all to Healthy Living, where it is all about health promotion. So you may be wondering what health promotion is basically about. So health promotion is the process of me enabling you to increase control over your health and improve your health. And how do I intend to do that? Is to provide you with the necessary information that you need to know to make informed health choices. Okay, so once again, thank you so much for joining me on this channel. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe so you'll be notified anytime I upload a new video. If you've already subscribed, thank you so much for subscribing and for sharing for the benefits of other people too, and for all you do to promote this channel. Thank you. So let's go straight to business. Today we are going to talk about cervical cancer. We are in January, and a number of us may know that January is the month by which we create awareness on cervical cancer. Yes, the condition doesn't know months, it doesn't know days, it doesn't know weeks, it doesn't know years. Yes, but January has actually been selected as a month to use to create awareness. So I want to seize this opportunity to tell you what you need to know about cervical cancer. Stay tuned, I'll be right back. Thank you. So what do we mean by cervical cancer? Okay, so it's a cancer of the cervix. Okay, yes, let me first of all begin by trying to tell you what a cancer is. So basically, cancer is a condition in which some cells grow uncontrollably to the extent that they can even get to other parts of the body. Yes, basically that's what a cancer is. So what we mean by a cell has actually gone out of control. Okay, so as I'm here and as you are there, most of the cells in our body are actually undergoing cell division to replace old ones that are dying. But there are actually genes that are responsible for this division, such that no cell will actually overgrow. No cell will actually grow more than the number of times it should divide. Yes. So when these genes are actually unable to regulate this control anymore, cancer results. So let me say, I'm just using as an example. If a cell is supposed to divide like say 8 times, in the absence of this gene controlling the growth, the cell could actually divide like 20 times. And that is what leads to cancer. That is what results in cancer. So the cervical cancer is this process that I've explained happening at the cervix. The cervix connects the uterus to the vagina. So when this uncontrollable growth I just described occurs at the cervix, that is what we call cervical cancer. So you may ask yourself, what is serious about this disease condition? Okay, this condition is serious because it is the third most common cause of malignancy among women worldwide. Yes, and to make matters worse, it's according to Medscape, it's leading cause of death related to cancer, of death related to malignancies among women. Let me say, if we all the women that have died as a result of conditions related to cancer, cervical cancer is common cause. Yes, so that is how serious this condition is. So you may ask yourself, what at all causes this cervical cancer? The human papilloma virus is the organism responsible for this. There are various subtypes of this virus. We have the subtype 6, 11, we have 16, we have 18, we have 31, 33, 35, 45, 52, and 58. Among all these that I've mentioned, there are some that are of low risk, and some that are of high risk. So those that have low risk includes the 6 and 11, and those that are of high risk include the 16, 18, and 45. And among these three that are already of high risk, the most common high risk one is 16. Yes, so these are the subtypes of HPV that could actually lead to the cervical cancer. So what are the risk factors? What could actually prone an individual to having cervical cancer? One, this individual should be someone that has involved herself in early sexual activities. Let me say you begin to have sex at a very early age, during your adolescent ages, it prones you to cervical cancer. And then if you have multiple sex partners, it also prones you to cervical cancer because you actually do not know the HPV variant that each of these sexual partners are actually carrying on them, and you could end up having sexual intercourse with someone with this HPV. So the next point is you actually having a history of sexually transmitted disease. This is because the fact that you've actually been exposed to sexually transmitted disease actually has some negative effects on your immune system. It kind of compromises your immune system and weakens your immune system. That way it makes it difficult for your body to fight this HPV when your body comes into contact with them. And then another risk factor is promiscuous male. Yes, and so this is actually my major concern when it comes to women that refuse to probably get vaccinated because they believe they are virgins and they do not really have any problem. Okay, fine, you may be a virgin, but you do not know the sexual history of your future husband. If he has actually been involved with so many women and has actually picked this virus from any of them, this man could actually transmit it to you. So you may be someone that, yeah, you may be a virgin, but this man with this HPV could actually transmit it to you after you guys have married. So it is highly recommended that women vaccinate themselves against this virus. What other risk factors are available? Okay, so the type and duration of infection is also included. As I mentioned earlier on, I mentioned that the severity of this organism causing cervical cancer virus, with 16 being the severest. So you being exposed to persistent infection of HPV 16 increases your risk of cervical cancer. And then environmental factors like you smoking and you having malnutrition, and so leading to your immune system being too weak to fight off infection. So we come into contact with most of these organisms that our body is able to fight them. So persistent infection with these organisms lead to cervical cancer. Yes, it's actually noted according to Medscape. The other routes we come into contact with this virus, but the most common route is through the sexual activities, as I've already mentioned. So once your immune system is lowered and you come into contact with them, you're actually prone to cervical cancer. Okay, so how does, if this virus should get into your body, how does it lead to the disease? When it gets into your body and it gets into your genome, it actually replicates. By replication, I mean it divides rapidly to increase in number. It undergoes a number of processes, and that is what causes the cells in your cervix to grow rapidly without control. So they divide anyhow, and let's say if they're supposed to be 20 in number, they end up being 40. This is just an example for you to understand. When I'm trying to make the division of cells has actually increased than normal, which is the cancer we are talking about. Okay, if someone has cervical cancer, what are some of the signs and symptoms this individual manifests? You could have abnormal vaginal bleeding. By abnormal, I mean in between. Let me say, you've already had your menses this month, and whilst you are waiting the next one, you realize you are bleeding. That is one of the signs and symptoms of cervical cancer. It's not the only cause of abnormal vaginal bleeding, but it is one of the conditions that could lead to that. Yes. The next one is you have vaginal discomfort. Yes, you wouldn't really feel so comfortable down there. And then the next one is having unpleasant smelling discharge from your vagina. You need to take note of this. So when you begin to notice something like that, you contact your medical doctor. And an individual could also have dysuria. Dysuria is painful or difficult urination. So if you're experiencing any of these things, it could be a sign of cervical cancer. I'm not trying to mean that once you have this, it means you have cervical cancer. Other conditions also lead to these signs and symptoms. But I'm trying to let you know that when you have cervical cancer, you could also exhibit these signs and symptoms. So anytime you experience any of this, consult your medical doctor so we find out what exactly is causing any of this. But we shouldn't wait till we experience these signs and symptoms. So how do we prevent or manage this condition? It is through regular routine tests, screening tests, and going for the pap test. You should go for this test and you are noted to have this HPV, let me say being 16, 18 or 45 or any of them, and it's actually noted that it has actually begun causing alterations to your cervix. Treatment can be started early, and that will prevent you running into complications of the later stages of the cervical cancer. That is the stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, and stages 4. So it's also important to go for regular screening tests. And then also after the screening, it's important to get vaccinated. But let me add, let me emphatically add that the fact that you've been vaccinated doesn't mean screening should end. It's highly recommended that once every 3 years you actually go for screening, even if you've been vaccinated against cervical cancer. And let me say that if anyone is watching me that's actually already been diagnosed with cervical cancer, all hope is not lost. It's actually treated, especially if it was detected early. You could be taken through radiotherapy, chemotherapy to actually treat the condition. Do not forget to share to benefit other people as well. And let me say once again that let's get ourselves screened and vaccinated against cervical cancer, because it leads to the death of so many women yearly. Thank you so much for subscribing. I'll see you next time. Bye.